Attention all college athletes, you better go ahead and get your money now because there's about to be a reckoning in college sports. Today it's a conversation, tomorrow is legislation. Let's talk about it. What's up, Bama Nation? I'm Kara Witt, and you're tuned in to another episode of Crimson Watch, where we watch the tide roll. Of course, the big news that's going on around in college sports is the roundtable that was had between college representatives such as Greg Burns and the GOAT Saban, with Senator Ted Cruz and some other senators and Congress, just talking about the state of college athletics as a whole. But first, we want to talk about what's going on with Alabama sports. So let's check out what's going on around the tide. Starting off with the softball team, Kayla Beaver pitched a shutout against them Gators with a 3-0 win. Congratulations, ladies. The men's tennis team had a 4-3 win on the road against Vandy. So congratulations to the men's team for that dub. And last but not least, how about Alabama Adaptive Athletics? The women's wheelchair basketball team won their 4th natty in a row. That is 5 natties in 6 years. A 4-peat. Talk about a dynasty. Congratulations. Let's go. Congratulations, ladies, on your 4th national championship. Can't wait to see you bring home the 5th. Roll Tide. Okay, so let's get into what was going on Capitol Hill. So Capitol Hill and college sports done had a collide. The people that are paid to run college sports and do what they're supposed to do can't even come up with a simple thing to get the control of NIL and this transfer portal, that it has to take an act of Congress to come in and put some guardrails on this crap. Fans can come up with a better solution than what y'all got going on right now. Right now, NIL is like a wind-up car. They just wound it up and let it go. They didn't put no guardrails up, no orange cones, no stop signs, no yellow traffic lights, nothing. We have fans of every team that could come up with a solution better than the NCAA. Check out this tweet from my boy JB at Sports Talk with JB. Make sure that y'all follow him on YouTube. But this is a prime example of how regular people who don't even get paid to do this job can come up with something as simple as this to figure out how we can make this sport more enjoyable, how we can make it fair, how we can create some parity amongst the sport. Y'all sitting up there acting like it's just the hardest thing for y'all to come up with, and I don't understand that. It should not take fans to be thinking harder about how to make the sport better than the people who get paid millions of dollars. Now we have to involve politics in college sports, and that's something that I'm a little hesitant on, because what they were talking about with this roundtable, and because it's just a discussion, it wasn't anything like they were going to make any changes right now. They were just really brainstorming, and some of the key points that were brought up were very interesting to me. And one of them is when they talked about they're going to need bipartisan support. You need the Democrats and Republicans to agree. I don't know about that, because if there's one thing they do on Capitol Hill is they know how to argue. And I don't know if I really want them arguing or trying to come up with a solution about something that I love, such as college football, because it's going to affect all of college sports. But I definitely don't want Republicans and Democrats arguing about something that shouldn't have no politics in it. It's going to open a can of worms, because if they come up with something that, say, one party doesn't like, oh, we're going to blame the Democrats, we're going to blame the Republicans that college sports is the way it is. And I just don't want to hear all that. First of all, I'm a fan of Alabama. That's in the SEC, the Southeastern Conference. And I already know how y'all like to get. So I really don't want to hear it. I want to keep my sports and politics separate. But here we are. Since y'all can't get it together, now we got to have an act of Congress. Apparently, there are a lot of opinions about what Coach Saban said during this little roundtable discussion. And I want to inform whoever was in charge of putting his name on that table. It is not Mr. Saban. It is Coach Saban or GOAT Saban, whichever one you prefer. Either one would do. When he really get relaxed and talking about the state of college sports, he really get in his bag, and he really remind y'all why he the GOAT. Everything he has said about college sports has come true, and he tried to warn y'all. I like to call him Nick Tradamus, because everything he done said and came true. I ain't really like the fact that he was sitting up there talking to the count, Ted Cruz. But again, this ain't about politics. I don't like Ted Cruz and never will like Ted Cruz. He do look like the count. But anyway, yeah, I really like when Coach Saban be in his bag. He was clear and concise, and he's been saying the same thing for a long time now. In the past few years, Nick Saban has never changed his stance about NIL and transfer portal. He has always said he believed players should get paid. He just does not believe that how much they get paid should not be a factor in recruiting. Some of the key points that he talked about is revenue sharing. I don't think it's fair that these institutions and these media companies like ESPN and CBS are making billions of dollars off the backs of these student athletes, and then some of these players are getting pennies. Obviously, the good players are getting multi-million-dollar deals, but I believe that if you are playing on television and you are wearing those team colors, you should get a piece of that profit that these networks and institutions are getting as well. And you can tell that Coach Saban has been wanting to talk about this for a long time, but he kind of was like on a short leash when he was coaching. But now he was spraying the proverbial AK, and he was letting it be known. He don't like it, and he ain't been liking it. And he kind of hinted that part of the reason why he retired was because these student athletes are a little bit entitled. I mean, let's be real about it. One of his points was that, he's spoken to the NFL coaches, and they were talking about how basically these athletes that's coming to the pros, they soft. They face a little bit of adversity, then they want to poke their mouth out and get upset because you ain't getting no playing time, or you get upset because you ain't get the ball on this play or something, whatever the adversity may be. Because they're not facing no adversity in college, y'all allowing them to transfer 3 and 4 times. That's crazy. They get to go somewhere. You ain't giving me no money, I'm going somewhere else. Keep in mind that they're extremely young when they go to the NFL, so they really don't have no life experience outside of college sports. So I can see NFL coaches saying certain things like that because you can see it. And also player development. They're not getting the development that they should be getting. Even if they are staying, they get recruited to go to the best schools. And I'm going to put Alabama up there, Ohio State's, Georgia's, whoever. They're getting recruited to go to the best schools, but then you don't realize that everybody else is also getting recruited to go to those great schools. And if you got to sit behind them, that is your opportunity to develop. But you get mad because you're not playing or you're not getting money, and you decide to go to a lower tier school where the development is not the same. And you might get drafted, but you'll get a low draft pick. And then you get into the NFL and you're not as developed as you would have been had you stayed at that other school and waited your turn. But see, that's exactly what Nick Saban was talking about. The development. These kids don't want to sit here and wait, and that is the problem. And y'all can get mad at him for saying that, but it's the truth. He been saying that. And we can already see it when we watch the sport on Sundays. Let's face it, the people that y'all love to watch on Sundays, these people who put in that grind and put in that work, they are going to be gone. The NFL is going to be full of entitled young athletes who failed to be fully developed, who were very entitled, and they're going to be in the NFL, and it's going to be unwatchable. So this is going to be a domino effect. It's not just going to stop in college. It's going to carry over into the pros if we don't get a handle on it, or if y'all don't get a handle on it before it's too late. They also talked about how 98% or 99% of the student athletes that play right now are not going to go to the pros, whether it's baseball, softball, basketball, whatever. 99% of them are not going to go pro. So you're going to face some adversity in life, whether you're playing sports or you're not. So you need to have to learn how to deal. You can't just up and jump and go anytime you get ready. That's why they're trying to put some rules in place so they can figure this thing out. A few other key points that I found extremely interesting. Mr. Phillips brought up the fact about unlicensed agents or inexperienced agents being a representative for the athletes. This is the thing that I was talking about in the previous video about these agents. They take advantage of these young people. They don't know what they're talking about, and they don't know what they're doing. How do you have unlicensed agents negotiating multi-million-dollar contracts for 18, 19-year-olds or inexperienced agents? Now, I know that is not the case across the board, but in some states, you don't even have to be licensed. Another thing that I don't like is the fact that some collectives are able to negotiate deals on the athlete's behalf, and they get 100% of the commission. So the money that they put in, say they put in $100,000 to get this certain player. Okay, then they get a deal for this certain player. And before they will allow that player to get the money from that deal, the collective is going to take the money themselves, recoup the money that they paid out. And then once they do that, they still can take 50% of the money that the player is getting off that deal. How is that fair? Again, there are no rules and it's the wild, wild west. But this is what y'all created. Y'all created this wind up car and just let it go off the tracks and go crazy. This is y'all fault, NCAA. This is y'all fault, okay? Another great topic that they discussed was, what are the pros and cons of an athlete being an employee? One of the guys there was saying he doesn't want athletes to be employees, because if you do, the problem that is going to come in is that it's going to be a one for all type thing. That if you're going to make one athlete an employee, you're going to have to make all of them an employee. So my opinion is that, okay, so if one person get paid, everybody should get paid. So for example, everybody that wears that script A, everybody that works on that equipment team, the people, I don't care if you're just picking up trash. If you're wearing that script A, if you have some type of credentials to be on that field and you are contributing to the standard, you're contributing to Alabama being a winning program, then absolutely you should get paid. One thing that I will say I understand is when he was talking about the benefits that the student athletes have, like housing, unlimited meals, and free travel. And if you make the athletes employees, then those certain benefits may diminish or completely go away. And I'm sure that the student athletes don't want that. And we must keep in mind that they are student athletes. I mean, if it, like Nick Saban said, you know, your chances of graduating decreases 20% every time you transfer. And that's not what we want. I mean, because if 99% of the student athletes not going to go pro, the focus should be academics. At the end of the day, it absolutely should be that. Student is the first word in student athlete. And although we do love that 1% that makes, you know, college sports what it is, it makes it exciting. We get to see our favorite player every Saturday in football. We love to see that, but at the end of the day, we also want to see them graduate. We want you to have a productive life outside of football, because what if you get hurt, you know? So I do understand that aspect of it. We want to make sure that they are getting the resources that they can to make sure that they are making the grades that they need if they want to go to graduate school, if they want to open their own business. We also want to put the student aspect into perspective and also pay players their worth, because that's what the NIL was supposed to be. You're supposed to be paid your worth. You're supposed to create value for yourself. It should be based on performance, in my opinion, because you can't just walk on the field and get paid $1 million and you haven't even proven yourself. But the main point should be getting your education and creating value for yourself. So that's my opinion on it, of what went down. Tell me what you thought about it. Do you think that the government should be involved in college sports? Or do you believe that the NCAA itself needs to step in and put their foot down? That's all I got for y'all today. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time, and roll tide.